Along with weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates here in Fairfield County. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and certainly the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that produced and put this program together every week. Back with the second week in a row is Toni Ashton. Good to see you again, Toni.
Good to see you
Appreciate
too.
you being here.
Thank you.
And Toni with Prevention Works. For folks that may have missed, well, you know what I probably should have done last week, tell me a little bit about your background.
Oh, okay. Well, I am a native of Lancaster, so
Okay.
I was born and raised here in Lancaster, Ohio. I graduated from Lancaster High School and then graduated from Ohio University in Athens. With a bachelor's degree. Went on, as I became a little older, received my master's degree through the University of Dayton. So I'm a licensed social worker, so my background is working with agencies, mostly here, right here in Fairfield County. And I started with Family, Adult, and Children First Council in 2003. And that was when the Prevention Works for Drug-Free Fairfield County Coalition was formed. And then in 2005, we received a drug-free community support grant through the federal government, and that's how we're funded.
So lots of background
Yes.
in social work.
Yes, yes.
And I can just tell you, the viewers and listeners, that you really do a good job. And I'm not saying that because you're here, because we go to a number of meetings together, and you are a great leader and come up with some great ideas. And speaking of great ideas, last week we were talking about some of the programs that the Prevention Works has put together over the last almost, I guess, 10 years now, right?
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yes.
So what are some of the programs, and let me let you explain again what the coalition does for people that may have missed the program last week.
The coalition, our mission is to prevent and reduce substance abuse in youth in Fairfield County, and we do that through environmental strategies. So we try and change our environment. We talked a little bit last week that the coalition, myself and the members, don't go into schools or classrooms and do direct service. There are agencies like the Recovery Center that do that, but we try and change the environment or the norms in our community. And so some of the programs that we've done, one big program that we do every spring is called Parents Who Host Lose the Most. And that is a program to educate parents that it is illegal to serve alcohol to their children's friends. It is targeted around prom and graduation time, so that when parents are having parties, that they don't have alcohol at those parties. So we work a lot with getting signs out, getting literature out. We have a great group of directors that are associated with the coalition, and then actually coalition members. And one thing that we've been able to do is a trifold through the Lancaster utility bill. So by working with the mayor in the city of Lancaster, we can put some literature around the Parents Who Host campaign through the utility bill that's mailed out to Lancaster residents. In the past, we've also done the village of Pickerington, and this past year we did the village of Millersport. So just working with some of those folks that have the powers that can let us do some of those things have been great for the Parents Who Host campaign.
Yeah, I'm often surprised that that parents would host a party for minors and then alcohol would be part of that. Sometimes the parents would provide it, but more often than not, other kids will bring it to the party,
Right.
bring it to the people's home, and then, of course, the parents see this going on. And to me, it is just, first of all, a bad example, certainly. Secondly, the parents can end up getting criminally charged. And thirdly, if, God forbid, one of these kids leave and they've had too much to drink and become involved in some serious car accident or fatality, those parents are going to have some liability, criminally and civilly.
Right.
So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And unfortunately, there's probably not a year that goes by that the sheriff's office, and I'm sure the Lancaster Police Department the same way, where we do not get calls to homes where you'll have adult parents at home and you have kids out in the driveway, you have kids leaving, kids coming, where they're actually consuming alcoholic beverages. I don't know why any adult would put themselves in such a bad position.
I think many of them don't realize what position they're putting themselves in, so that's part of the education of the campaign. They also, I've heard parents say, I can keep them safe in my house. And that's not always true. Not only is it a safety issue, it's also a health issue. We know that the longer we can get kids to wait to drink alcohol, the less likely they'll have problems in adulthood. The younger they drink, the more likely they will have problems.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think
Yes.
most people understand that.
Yes, yes. So the Parents Who Host campaign, like I said, we've done that every spring. In 2012, we started our Stand Up project. And we ask teens to nominate who in their life are their anti-drug heroes. So who in their life have helped them to make the decision not to drink, not to use drugs. And so we received about 24 nominations from teens throughout Fairfield County. I had a review committee that selected 10. And out of those 10, we partnered with the Mount Pleasant Photography Club, and they took their pictures. We mounted those pictures on stand-up figures. I should have brought one with me today because they are just a wonderful example of the idea that most kids don't use,
Right.
and that adults can make a huge impact in a kid's life. So some of the adults nominated are parents, mom, dad. Some of them have been school personnel, teachers. Some of them have been alcohol drug counselors. So a variety of people, a godmother. So we encourage parents to talk to their kids, and if for whatever reason the parent can't, to hook that kid up with somebody that they can talk to, ask questions, trust.
And I think often parents underestimate what an impact they'll have on a child, a neighbor, a friend, something like that. I can remember my dad came out of World War II. He was a World War II veteran, and he smoked cigarettes, as a lot of people did back then. And I can remember my mom, as far as back as I can remember, my mom would say, I hope you don't start smoking like your dad. Mm-hmm. And she would tell me this over and over again, and I can still hear that noise, her in my ear. And even as a teenager, when a lot of my friends back then, back in the 60s, mm-hmm. they were starting to smoke cigarettes, but I could hear my mom. This is what you don't do. This is what you do. And I never smoked. And so I do think that those, even though kind of then it's nagging, you say, I know a lot more than mom now, but I think those things are very, very impactful on kids.
I think so too. And I think, like you said, sometimes as adults we think they aren't listening, they don't hear us. They do. They do. Another activity that the coalition has taken part in are the prescription drug drop-offs. The DEA
that has been big, yes.
has had national days, I think starting in 2010. So the coalition has partnered with law enforcement to do drug drop-offs. And just recently, the coalition purchased permanent drug drop boxes for the Pickerington Police Department and the Lancaster Police Department. So folks can actually get rid of those prescription painkillers. Those are specifically what the boxes are for, and drop those off in the Pickerington and Lancaster Police
No
Department
questions
lobbies.
asked.
No
Just go in,
questions
just
asked.
like it's similar to a mailbox. Just go in,
Yes.
drop it in, you're on your
Yes.
way, right?
Right. No needles, no liquids, and again, we're looking for those prescription painkillers. We know that with youth that we have to eliminate access. If they aren't available, they won't use. We know from the survey that if kids do use prescription drugs, and only a minority do, that they're getting them from the medicine cabinet at home. They are not purchasing.
Or going to grandma's house.
They're stealing or taking from their parents. So we want to eliminate that access. And so we want folks to make sure they drop those, get rid of them if they have leftover prescription painkillers.
I've had young people tell me that when they were 12, 13 years old, that their parents would have liquor bottles at their house, and that's how they actually got started. And maybe that led to alcoholism and things, but the
Right.
parents wouldn't, they'd have a cabinet full of all types of whiskey or rum and different things, and they would just start taking a little bit, putting it back. Mom and dad won't know, and before you know it, 10 years later, you've got a child struggling with alcoholism.
Right, correct. As we talk about alcohol, the coalition also partners with law enforcement, with Sheriff's Office, Baltimore Police Department, Lancaster Police Department, to do compliance checks. And again, we are trying to eliminate teens having access by going into convenience stores, drive-throughs, grocery stores to purchase. So by working with law enforcement, they do get underage teens, train them to go in and try and purchase alcohol and tobacco. And if the seller or server does sell or serve, then they are given a summons at that point.
Great
It's
program.
illegal.
And you also work with the liquor establishments, right?
We do. We have a responsible beverage server training that we offer. So in fact, we just had one in June, and we invited all liquor permit holders in Fairfield County to come and attend a responsible beverage seller server training. We had a agent from the Ohio Investigative Unit come in and do that training. We had local law enforcement there, so that if folks had questions about how things are done locally, that they would be able to get those questions answered.
And if I remember correctly, it was a great turnout.
It was great. We had around 60 people there, so that
That is
was
fantastic.
a wonderful turnout. So yes.
And I think the other thing is it shows that not only do we want to try to catch people doing things they're not supposed to, but we want to help people in prevention, right?
Correct, to
Yeah.
prevent, so that they know the law. I think sometimes when someone is hired as a seller or server, they don't realize what responsibility they have.
Right.
And I think that, giving trainings, having trainings that they can attend really help that.
And I know the other thing that's always been good when we do the compliance checks, a lot of times afterwards we go ahead and send letters to the carryouts that didn't sell. So not only are we saying you're selling, you're doing something illegal, but for the folks that are obeying the law, doing their dead level best to do what they're supposed to, make sure the kids do not get served, we want to let them know, hey, we appreciate it. You're checking people. We had an agent come in, an informant come in. You didn't sell to them, and we appreciate that.
Yes, thanks for following the law.
Thanks for following the law.
Yes, exactly. We also collaborate with the Lancaster Eagle Gazette, and they run a big ad in the paper for the establishments that did not sell. They have a big ad that says, "Way to go, thanks for taking care of business." So yeah, it's a great program.
With us this afternoon, Toni Ashton. Toni, I'd like to have you back here sometime in the future to kind of give us an update, especially if you have some new initiative or program that the coalition's starting. I know you've had the movies this summer.
We did. We had movie nights this summer, free movie nights for families downtown on the corner of Main and Broad Street. So that's been a great family activity.
Yeah, lots of fun, lots of
Yes.
things, educational component to that, plus a great movie for the kids.
Yes, exactly.
And the adults.
And the adult.
I mean, the way they make these movies now, I mean, it's
It's
really,
for everyone.
It's fun. It's for fun.
Yeah.
Toni Ashton, glad to
Thank
have
you.
you with
Thank you.
us the last couple weeks here on This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, and all the nice comments we get about this program. And certainly, again, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that go ahead and produce and put this program together each and every week. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go. Until next week, same time, same place. If you're out there driving, buckle up, be careful. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
Nice. No. Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.